All right, everybody, welcome to the City of Cotulla. City Council will meet for a regular meeting on Thursday, April 14, 2022 at 7 p.m. at Alexander Convention Center, Conference Room 290, North IH 35, Access Road, Cotulla, Texas. This is an open meetings, subject to open meeting laws of the state of Texas. Roll call. I believe we have Mr. Reynaldo Garcia. He is coaching a baseball team, so I ask a first motion to excuse Mr. Garcia. First motion by Mr. Sertuche, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Will everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Citizens to be heard. City Council cannot discuss any present issue, nor may any action be taken at any given issue at this time. Ms. City Secretary, we only had one citizen's comment. Ms. Kinzel, would you like to say a few words under citizen's comment, please?
Yes, I would.
Sure.
The podium is right over here, Ms. Kinzel.
I'll be brief. I promise. And you wanna pick up that, just put it where people can see it, that's all. You don't have to hold it. The ones of you who read the Current probably already know I have given a really meaningful award. Very, very unexpected. The Jefferson Award. And the Jefferson Award is not something we hear a lot about, but you may hear more about it in the future. We are the Women's Club, and those of you who don't know, the Women's Club of Cotulla was organized in 1923. I promise I won't give you the history of the Women's Club, but a lot has been accomplished since 1923 by the members of the Women's Club. I expressed that to my younger son one day. Of all the things that had been done, we did not have now a lot of people have contributed to these things besides the Women's Club, but what I think knitted it to all together with the same women staying in it, and then of course their daughters were in it, and now their granddaughters, because that's been a long time. But I mentioned that to my younger son one day, and well, Mom, did you hold an office? I had just finished saying it was started in 1923, and I said, sweetheart, do the math. I wasn't here in 1923, but I'm sorry, Mom. I just hadn't thought through that. I said, oh, that's quite all right. But I did come along soon after that. But this year, and it was it was on a Thursday, the 31st of March. So, and of course, when I asked to speak tonight, I had no idea that I would win. In fact, I was very sure I wouldn't, because there were 12 people, 12 nominees. 11 of those 12 are from Laredo. So, I mean, just, if you think about that a little bit, you don't, if you have 11 nominees from Laredo and one from Cotulla, we're just as smart as Laredo, but we're not quite as big. They are a city, and we aren't quite yet. So the last thing that I expected, I was pleased to be nominated, very pleased about that. But number one, the committee that nominated me, I had what I thought was a very serious talk with them. I said, for heaven's sakes, nominate someone younger. The younger are more apt to win. I mean, in my opinion. I had a lot more energy when I was younger, and I'm 92 now, so I thought they should, for the benefit of our club, nominate someone younger. But I was talking to someone that, I won't call her name, but you don't talk her out of anything. I don't mean hard-headed now, I just mean strong-willed. She had her mind made up, and anyway, that I became the nominee. And then I explained to both of my sons that there's not a chance of someone. Now, we have able, capable people in Cotulla. I'm the first to agree to that. But we're just not the city. So I explained to my sons they were welcome to go, attend if they'd like to. I'd be happy, but I didn't expect them to. One thing, they had 8 turkey hunters here, and my goodness, we're blessed right now. I mean, we as the community, that people have, I'm sure a lot of people had known it, but recently more people have learned we have the Rio Grande turkeys. I'm a deer hunter, but I'm not a turkey hunter. So I don't know a great deal about all the different kinds, but it seems like it just more recently they've realized that these turkeys are, I did grow up very near the Nueces River, and so I knew a lot about those turkeys, and they roosted down on the river. That was, but as far as shooting a turkey, I love to hunt whitetail deer, but I didn't even want to kill a turkey. I still don't. I'd rather go buy a butterball if I'm gonna cook one. But I will say, I just brought some of these, I'll lay them on the table if you want to look at them. The pictures of the nominees, and there are 11, and they're all from Laredo. Nothing's wrong with that. I mean, they're capable, great. And first, let me say, the Jefferson Award is all about volunteerism. It's not about how well you dance or how well you can sing, or it's not all those kind of talents. It's how well you volunteer and how, I guess, maybe in my case, how long you volunteer. It's been a long, long time. And I had, that was one surprise when they called my name. My older son was sitting next to me, and he said, "Mom, they called your name." And sometimes he thought I didn't hear it. I said, "I know, Dan, I heard it, but it may be a mistake. And I don't want to walk up there and then come and have to sit back down." So he said, no, Mom, it's not a mistake. He punched me like this to get up, and I did. And then today, that was a big, large surprise that I won. And then today I had another surprise, and that's a letter from Tracy King. Of course, we all know Tracy King because he's been our state representative a long time, and we're proud of him. But I never had a letter from him. I've seen him many occasions because I belong to the South Texas Cattlewomen, and he often attends. Sometimes makes a talk, and sometimes he just attends because he's very interested in agriculture. And then I thought I'd share with you a couple of things that this is the nice thing that I'm very, very proud of. I represent the Cotulla Women's Club, as I've already mentioned, and they have my name and Cotulla Women's Club, which I'm very proud to be a member for quite a number of years. And the other thing I'll mention is this gold medallion. And it says the power of service to others. And we don't think of it as power at all. We think of just helping others, no matter what it is that they need. And lots of times I have realized it's our time. I mean, many times there are people that are longing for someone to sit down and have a conversation or talk to them. I went to the Women's Club last week and I met a lady that light years younger than I am, but was a new member. And just a couple of days ago, I had a letter from her thanking me for my time in visiting with her. And so I'm not just adding that. I'm saying many times, maybe we don't take time to think about it, but there are people in our town who would like some of your time just to sit down, and maybe they want to know about Cotulla. Maybe they haven't lived here nearly as long as I have, or maybe 6 months, and they just want your time. I'm very aware of that. And then the next thing that's by no means the smallest thing, but they started this a long time ago in sports and all kind of things. They make this huge big check, you know. So they gave now, but let me make it very clear. You don't see my name on it. You see the Women's Club of Cotulla, $1,500, and for our club, that's a lot of money. And you know, well, for anybody it is, but it will help our club a great deal. And each of these people whose pictures are here, and I'll just lay them down there, represent different organizations. And so which one of these 12 people would win, the $1,500 goes to the organization they represent. And I'm happy, very happy that it will help the Cotulla Women's Club. And another thing that I won, well, I mentioned that a while ago, it's this, and I only say gold because it's gold in color. It's not gold, but I couldn't be more proud of it if it were. Thank you for giving me your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kinsel. Thank you. And congratulations too.
Sir?
I said thank you and congratulations too.
Well, you know, anytime we can put Cotulla on the map more, my granddaughter, and I'm not pushing my granddaughter because most of you, or a lot of you know she's a barrel racer, and she wanted to be a barrel racer when she finished high school. But of course she had to first go to, she didn't have to go to A&M. In fact, she wanted to go to a college that had one of the best rodeo teams. I said, honey, are you gonna major in rodeo? She said, yes, ma'am. She knew then that she hoped to make it as a barrel racer. And I took a picture of this because she has a number of these, and I mentioned her because she said early on when she's been now pro rodeoing about 3 years after A&M, and she said, Nana, why do they say I'm from Cotulla? There's not anybody place named Cotulla. I said, well, honey, there really is. There really is a Cotulla, Texas. And she said, I said, maybe it's just not well known to the announcers, because the rodeo announcers are from everywhere, mostly in the West, Wyoming or Montana. And she said, well, they've heard of Cotulla now. And I was proud of her because whatever we can do to make people more aware where we are and what we stand for. And I think we've done a good job of talking about our deer hunting. And now we have turkey hunters coming. So anything we can do, or if you, I don't travel much except to her rodeos, but any of you that travel some, introduce yourself and tell them where you're from. And they may say, where is that? Well, let them know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Kinsel.
Thank you, Ms. Kinsel. Moving on to item number 5, departmental and committee reports.
Code enforcement.
Code enforcement or code compliance.
Good evening, City Council members, Mayor, City Administrator, Mr. Pena. As you can see in my report, towards the end of the week of, or month of March, I attended the TEEX Basic Code Enforcement Training in Waco in order to prepare myself for the state licensing exam to TDLR. So I'll be looking forward to that in the next couple weeks. The next item is the warning letters that were sent out. There was there were 6 properties, notifications sent regarding various ordinance violations, and 1 easement concern. On number 5, on that concern over the easement, I've met with that property owner twice over the week. She's assuring me that she'll take care of that shortly after the holidays. The voluntary cleanups, there was 2 properties where property owners had reached out and asked for some assistance, and arrangements were made with the city, and those things were taken care of. 2 properties that were in compliance was the business complex that is right behind the Sonic area. It was overgrown and had some clothing articles strewn across the backside of the building. All that's been cut and cleaned up. And then there's a property to the Gonzalez family there on Lane Street. They're making progress along the property, and that is getting taken care of, and I'm monitoring that particular property. Citizen call-ins and concerns. One was on Pool Street concerning a smoldering stump. Apparently, the tree had been cut, and they doused it and lit it up over the early evening hours, and it continued into the early morning. But there were heavy winds that morning, and it was starting to ignite again. So the owner complied and put it out. On Hickey Street, I believe, in fact, a call came into the city street department regarding strong odors coming from the property. It didn't turn out to be anything with the city, but another property adjacent to that address regarding an odor. Met with the property owner just in fact 2 weeks ago, and something he was cleaning back there lingered, and he has since taken care of that problem. The public safety concerns right there on the right-of-way between both establishments of Flying J and Stripes, road department personnel, street department personnel were checking the area. They saw an indentation or an impression of the asphalt from the cement, from the heavy traffic of the 18-wheelers, some separation. Upon closer inspection, there was some give in the asphalt that broke away, and you could actually see a crevice opening underneath that pavement that dropped approximately 3 feet just by a quick measuring with a stick, and you could see that it was eroded underneath. The property was notified, Stripes, because it came off of right side. My understanding is the property is divided between Stripes and Flying J. So Currently, there is a barricade and some cones there to keep vehicles and the 18-wheel traffic from pressing over it. Their shift leader notified their headquarters personnel regarding that concern and issue. And then, over the course of here in the past couple of days and earlier in the month, I did some gaming amusement machine inspections. For the most part, the first two were compliant. Actually, the first three, at the Flying J, the Golden Elephant, and Charlie's. The other machines, they're on number 4, the 777 on Main Street, had 28 machines. There were 3 over from the initial fee that was paid to the city based on the number. They had only permitted for 25 and were over 3. Number 5, the Lucky Turtle on Market Street, according to what we have on record, shows 32 machines that were permitted or paid for to the city, but they actually had 12 over. Of course, they were notified about making corrections to that until they take care of it with the city. Of course, I notified the comptroller's office on any discrepancies, so that way they're aware of any issues. And then there's a pending demolishing at the intersection on Lane and Johnson, an old wooden structure at that intersection from the Maldonado family. During the strong winds, the roof blew over partially the roof, and of course they started asking about demolishing the building. So when they're ready, because they have some items in there that want to take out, that's been in there for years, and they'll contact us for that demolish. At this time, that is all I have. If there's any questions.
Councilman, any questions for code compliance, Mr. Garcia?
I have a question or two on the gaming and amusement machines. What is the process if Flying J comes and says that they have 20 machines? Does someone goes out there and checks the machines? If they
Yeah.
put a sticker there, or how does it work?
Yes,
They do.
we go out and check,
Okay.
and then we subsequently do an audit, which is what he did, and then we find out if in fact they have additional machines that need to be certified.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you. Very much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Council Mayor. We'll give the water
waste,
report
water and water wastewater.
and the gas report.
Excellent.
So, on the water report, we'll talk about the projects. The Cotulla Water Tower located at the Public Works Yard. They have completed the painting of that tower. Currently, they're working on the electric portion of it, which is gonna power lighting, lighting for the beacon at the top for the airplanes to see. And it also is gonna power the SCADA system. So that'll be integrated into our computer system. We'll be able to operate and see what's happening with the tower from one location or pretty much anywhere we would need to see it or on the phone, just like any of our other water wells that we have. After that, they're going to, they have a yard line, a water line, altitude valve that they're gonna put in and run out and connect to our system. After that, all they have left is some fencing and some site work, and they will be completed on the job. So I would say they're probably within the next 30 days, they're gonna be to the point where they're about complete. So the Ortiz Street project, which is drainage and, concrete and completion of the street there, repair of the road or repaving of the road. That one, we had a meeting this week on it. Contracts were signed for that project, and I suspect in the next few weeks they'll be starting. So, and as far as the water, that there was any questions, that's all I really had at this time. Sure.
One issue on that area for that project, I know that on the bus that sank on a hole there. Can the school be advised of the construction in that area, because I believe they pick up?
Yes, sir.
They're basically gonna block the street
Okay.
while they do construction, and it is a very narrow street, so I have asked the surveyor to get the complete right-of-way and expand the street to include the entire right-of-way with concrete, So that'll push it as wide as it can get. And that means that some people have to draw back their trash cans, and the setbacks on the RVs get closer. And so we intend to make sure that that street is fully workable.
Yeah, just make a notification for the school to know, because they pick up 2 kids there in that area. That's why.
At the RVs,
Yes, sir. Yeah,
they may have to wait on golf. But it's gonna be concreted, so
Yeah.
eventually it'll be okay.
Okay. So for the actual report for the gas department is in the pack. I did want to speak about the Railroad Commission's 8% rule, because it's kind of a big deal for us. The Railroad Commission's 8% rule requires municipalities, or pretty much any gas line company that.
Explain what the 8% rule is.
Okay. So, or any gas line or company, it's gonna require them to change on, it's a line replacement project for the city, and the requirement is asking us to change out that amount of gas line year after year, but it does not mean our total system. So we have a setup to where we see our risks throughout the city. What's our highest risk lines? Which lines have the most leaks? We've identified those. When we see which ones have the most risks, we'll say, for instance, this year their concern is San Miguel and Stewart Street between Leona. There's a 1,500-foot line, gas line that runs through there that is steel, and of that 1,500 foot gas line, 8% of that needs to be replaced. So that's probably about 120, 150 feet that is required to be replaced. We do that, and we will satisfy the Railroad Commission's needs of that rule. Next year, we go and we do another 120 foot of that line, and once again, we satisfy them. So pretty much we're going to go throughout the city, and all our highest risks, that's what we're going to have to end up doing year after year. You know, it's at our discretion if we decide to replace the whole line at once, or if we just do the bare minimum.
We have a software program called a DIMP program, and that's how you analyze the gas lines, and that's how you determine the ranking of risk. That you select the risk based on the data, and it usually is got a bunch of different factors that you use to make it risky or riskier, and you're only programmed to do 8% of whatever that is. Or you could do the entire line or an entire section of the line where it becomes more feasible to do it. And what they're gonna do tonight, you've got an item on the agenda. We wanna train more people to fuse lines so that they can do the replacement themselves.
Yes, and that's pretty much the gist of it. And yeah, that's actually the representatives of Energy WorldNet are here tonight, and their agenda item is number 10, and they're going to go through the requirements for education for the staff. So
How big is that line, David?
We have 41 miles of plant.
41 miles.
37 are still steel. The Railroad Commission, because of the industry experience with pipelines blowing up and killing people, and most of them I'm gonna say are on the industry side, not on the municipal side, and they're making this requirement, and obviously they can recover the cost a lot easier, but we can't because we ask for rates and rate increases in order to pay for it. What has happened to the municipal gas systems, and Tuesday night, Three Rivers sold their gas system. And I'm telling you this because this is a precursor. And the municipalities are trying to control the rates from the community, but gas is gonna double this summer because of everything that is going on. We just saw in February one of the highest months that we've ever paid to West Texas Gas, our supplier. And because of the conditions of the world, things are gonna get worse. So you're gonna be tasked in keeping control of the rates. The only way you can control the rates is to have the gas system in the city. Once you sell to a reliant of the world, they're gonna make money. They don't care about the communities. You know, they may tell you a different story, but they don't care. And so we basically have used other funds to fund gas. So you're looking at some sort of a rate increase if this happens. Our supplies that we receive of gas are on a month-to-month basis. We don't have a long-term contract with a supplier because nobody will sign one. You at one time had one, but you don't have it now. And if we ever expand our system, we want to expand to the south where Anadarko and the other plant are located, because then we can get a long-term contract with them. Currently, we can't, but we may need to spend that money in order to extend the line to the south to tap onto them if we can ever negotiate a longer contract. But it's for the future of the community.
So that's all I had. If there's any questions.
Can you give me the status on the generators? I know you said sometime in July, June, July.
We have prepared the specs for the regenerators. We are obligated under Senate Bill 3 to have an emergency management plan to stand alone at any point in time in the state. And we have to turn in that plan to the state. And that's our obligation. We have now been approached by CARES, or Texas Department of Emergency Management, to apply for a grant, seeing if they'll give us a grant for the entire generation of both wells. And we are in the process of having submitted the grant, and we'll see what they agree to or not agree to. We have paid for the design of the generators from the money that was left over from well 9. And we got permission from the Texas Water Development Board to use the money for that design.
And one of those generators will be run by natural gas, right?
We originally wanted natural gas. The pricing for 2 natural gas generators with plans and everything was upwards of $2 million. So we made a decision, Mr. Dovalina made the decision to revert back to diesel.
Natural gas.
Yeah, and it cut the price almost in half.
Yeah.
Is that it? Okay, Jimmy was gonna do the wastewater report.
Okay. Jimmy? Thank you, David.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the wastewater report, I just want to go over on the 12-inch sewer line. We're just waiting the approval of the plans for that 12-inch line running from the airport down to our wastewater treatment plant, and then also on the upgrade project that we have. By next week, we should have the 90% plans. As far as the wipes, I had one of the council members ask, and I saw that the school had put on a video about the wipes. It has decreased some, but I mean, we're still experiencing a lot of debris in there from the wipes, trash. So hopefully once we get the project on the wastewater treatment plant, the bar screen, that will help eliminate, most of the problems with the wipes and stuff going into the pumps and into the plant.
the wastewater line, we asked the Texas Water Development Board to allow us to use an alternative system for the pipeline, and instead of using Schedule 90, we have asked for something called HTP, and it's something that's used in sewer lines, and you also need to fuse the line because it's sort of polypipe that we think is a good alternative. We will not use it for water because of the restrictions on the pipe, but in the supply chain problems that we're having today, Schedule 90 pipe takes 3 to 4 months to be delivered, and HTP is readily available. So we have asked for an alternative pricing in the bid so we can compare.
Councilman, any other questions for Jimmy on his report?
Thank you.
Not Jimmy, thank you very much for that report. Streets and parks.
You have a written report in your packet. Councilman, the supervisor of Street and Parks is on vacation today.
Sanitation. Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, City Council members. Ms. Dovalina, Mayor. The March 2022 sanitation report, we had 37 total roll-off trips to Laredo and 1 to the Texas Metal Salvage in Pearsall. It was a busy month for the sanitation department. We had several activities going on. I'll start off with the residential and commercial pickup. We had 304.48 tons of trash picked up for the month of March, which is 608,960 pounds. At the citizen collection, at the transfer station, we have 47,440 pounds collected of trash. We also had 2 containers from the Waha cook-off that collected 13,420 pounds in that 3 or 4 day event. On March the 5th, 2022, we also had a city cleanup. We had 6 40-yard containers collected and 1 metal scrap metal. The 6-yard containers was a total for the cleanup was 62,760 pounds, and the metal for that day was 7,860 pounds. We also collected approximately 220 tires that day. Some maintenance that was done at the transfer station, the front entry, if you've gone by lately, the gate and the metal post have been painted. I think that's never been painted before. It's been just original color. Also, co-mix asphalt was poured at the entries to the transfer station to cover the pothole. And the fence line of the north side of the transfer station was loose and was retied with galvanized fence wire. Also, just letting everybody know that the sanitation department will work through the holidays. We will pick up tomorrow and Monday, but the sanitation department will be closed on Saturday and Sunday. The transfer station will be open on Saturday for the citizens. That's my report.
We will have a cleanup next Saturday for
Correct.
the community to be able to pick up additional debris that he mentioned, including tires, in order to keep our community clean.
And that will be, if I'm not mistaken, that'll be at the Plaza Florita.
Yeah.
And it starts at what, 7 o'clock in the
7
morning?
o'clock, sir. The
And it ends at 3?
is it 2 if the containers don't get full?
Depends on the traffic.
Depends on the traffic. But the transfer station will be open, so citizens have the opportunity to go at the cleanup or go to the transfer station on that day and dispose of their, items free of charge for that day.
Councilman, any other questions for Mr. Martinez? If not, thank you very much for that report, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor.
I believe Animal Control is not here. We have a report in our packet. Main Street. Ms. Karina?
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, Mr. Dovalino, Mr. Pena. You have your packet. So I attended the Laredo workshop for Texas Historic Preservation Plan on March 29th in Laredo. And in your packet, you can find a couple of points that we went over in different workshops that were available. The Highway 97 Red Barn, the Main Street Barn, number 5, was actually, the project was completed. It was actually repaired, metal was retacked and realigned, and then painted as well. All the other barns, the 1 through 4, will be painted. Abledomon actually just placed the order today for the paint so that they can all be unison. Stockman's Bank, it's still underway. The plumbing has been inspected and approved by the City of Cotulla inspection. And then material boards will be created soon so that we can be able to pick the different wood samples and finishes for the windows and stuff like that. Cristo Rey project, field work at the cemetery and oral histories will be performed at the end of this month. And then update on Plaza Florita National Register of Historic Places. We do have an update on that. The plaque should be delivered on April 22nd, and if it's delivered that day, we'll go ahead and have an unveiling on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And then, as Mr. Dovalina stated, the Trashorama will be April 23rd from 7 to 2 p.m. And then also I submitted the Texas Historical Commission Q1 activity and reinvestment reports this week. If y'all want a copy of that, I can go ahead and email it. Can't print it, it's very long. And then most importantly, we've been working on finalizing the historic guidelines and the historic master plan, which is in your packet, and Leslie's actually here for the other items that will be later in the meeting. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question, probably not on your report, but have you started to look into 4th of July?
The initial steps are being taken for that, for the actual bands, and we've actually been looking, but fireworks have already been purchased, and it's a 20-minute show.
Are we making it a 2-day deal or just a 1 day?
Our goal is to have a 2-day, Saturday and Sunday. 4th
Excellent.
of July being that Monday for people to rest.
Excellent.
And where is this gonna be held at, the same area? The Veterans
We're
Park?
hoping that it's the same location as last year.
Councilman, any other questions for Ms. Carino? Now, Ms. Carino, thank you very much for that report.
Thank you and happy
Thank
Easter.
City Administrator.
We've had a busy week, as you will tell by your agenda. We're trying to complete a whole bunch of things. To my surprise, the census has not recorded any of our annexations that have been done since 2008, which I was surprised, but not totally, knowing the census and its reputation. We have an airport planning grant from TxDOT Aviation that we're working on, and to everybody's surprise who didn't see the plane, I didn't see the plane. The biggest airplane to ever land at the airport landed there this past month. It was a G650. The owner of the plane was Jeff Bezos, who came in with his son so he could see his ranch at Artesia Wells. He was here for 8 hours. He had more Secret Service than the president. But obviously very few people knew that he was gonna come in. It's an amazing plane. And we're lucky that the airport can actually land that airplane. So we're in the process of delivering that airport packet probably by June. And there are certain nuances on the airport. If you do a project that involves runways or taxiways, you only pay 10%. If you do hangars or terminals, then you pay 50%. So you've got to be smart about what you choose and how it will impact the traffic, and all of that is going to be in the report that'll come to you before it goes to the state. just to make sure you don't.
Yeah, our little airport has come a long way, so it's really nice. We've had more runway added, a terminal added, and some taxiways also, and more to come. So, Councilman, any questions for our city administrator? If not, thank you very much for that report, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 6, approval of minutes, February 23rd, 2022, March 9th, 2022. Ms. City Secretary, was there any changes to the minutes? Councilman, no changes were made. Were you able to review the minutes? If you did, I need a first motion to approve the minutes. First motion made by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, discussion of possible action on a resolution on the designation of El Camino Real Dos Los Tejas National Historic Trail.
This is just a resolution written in support of that historic trail. We are now a part of the trail. The new packets that come out advertising the oral history of the trail also include the town of Cotulla.
Do you have backup for it?
What?
Do you have something as backup for it? 'Cause I don't have an actual resolution.
I already passed it.
She passed them out.
Yeah.
So this one?
We need action taken on this item.
Yes, just approval.
I seek a first motion to approve item number 7. First motion by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second. Second by Mr. Gilbert Ayala. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, an ordinance of the city of Cotulla, Texas, approving an annexation schedule for the following properties to wit. This will be track number 1, 2, 3, and 4,
5
and 5,
and
and
6.
6.
Mayor, these are various pieces of property that the city engineer has notified me they're either property that the city owns or that individuals have asked to be annexed into the city. And within the ordinance, if you look at section 2, there is a timeline and kind of lays out the process of how we have to go about providing notices, et cetera, so that we can comply with the various sections of the local government code regarding annexations. And there are different sections that apply. If you look at the ordinance, for example, Exhibit A of the ordinance has those properties that are being annexed on the request of the owners, and there are some other provisions which you can look at as well. Jorge is supposed to get me meets and bounds descriptions of all of these properties. I think I have most of them, but I think I'm missing a couple. So when we actually do the annexations, the annexation ordinance will give the full description. But this is, the purpose of this ordinance is just to basically set out the timeline so that we can start that process and get these things annexed. I think the last annexations would probably occur in early June. So we've done this before. There's some service plans that have to be done. Most of these are, if I recall right, most of this is vacant property, right?
Most of it is,
Utilities,
yes.
Yeah. So
Or city land.
right, there's some, for example, there's a utility easement that's on the Newman property, and it's actually an interest that the city owns. So the city can annex that into, that particular easement into the city limits because it owns that right in the property. All of these properties have to be contiguous to the city, so they have to connect. And as far as I know, they all do. And so it's a lot of words and a lot of paper, but that's what they require. One of the other things that Mr. Dovalina brought up is that we have to make sure that these things get reported. There's some filings with the Secretary of State's office that maybe that's why we're not being picked up on some of these census tracts.
By the census,
I don't
yes.
know. That doesn't mean that the annexations are not valid. It's just that they may not have gotten to where they need to go, which again doesn't make sense because those properties have been annexed in the past, have been commercial properties, and we're getting sales tax on them. So the comptroller knows they're in the city.
Yeah, the problem is there's a disconnect between the state and the federal government, if you can tell from the news.
So as I say, there's a right way, a wrong way, and their way. So, you know.
But it'll be corrected because there is a way to correct it.
And
Excellent.
We'll get that taken care
But,
of. And I don't know, is Jorge here tonight?
Yes, he is.
I didn't see him.
No,
Jorge?
Jorge
No, he's not
Martinez,
here.
no. Jorge Flores is.
Yeah. So I talked to him quite a bit. I'll get him. I have to like, hey, I need this, and
Yeah.
he gets them to me when I call him. But
Excellent.
so this is just an administrative thing, and you're not really doing anything except. And Bianca, there's like a real tight schedule on there when these things have to be done. And now that we have a website, we have more notices
More duties.
that have to be out. And I have looked at it lately. There were some issues with it that I talked to the city about, and it's looking real good actually. So I like it.
Excellent. No action needed on this, it's just.
You need to
You
approve
need
the
to approve the
ordinance.
schedule.
Yeah, approve it.
We need a first motion on item number 8 to approve the schedule of annexation. First motion is made by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second. Second by Mr. Hondo Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 9, presentation of financial statements by Jorge Flores.
Mayor, council
Flores.
members, good evening. First report is your sales tax report. For the month of April, the city received $127,556. Now, the April distribution is for February collection, and February just doesn't have enough days. So it looks a little lower than it is. If it was a 31-day month, we would have collected over $140,000. The next page is the hotel motel tax collections. For March, the city collected an additional $9,049 for a total of $234,806 for the second quarter. And for the first 6 months of the year, the city has collected $488,194. Next report is your statement of revenues and expenditures. Page number 1 is the general fund. Total revenues, and this is for the first 6 months of the year, ending March 31st. Total revenues is $1,571,114. On page number 4, total expenses of $1,470,438 for net income of $100,675. On page number 5 is the water sewer fund. Total revenues $847,235. On the next page, total expenses of $747,648 for net income of $99,586. On page number 7 is the gas fund, revenues of $220,807, expenses of $240,806, for a net loss of $19,998. And on page number 9 is the solid waste fund, revenues of $399,246, expenses of $412,437, for a net loss of $13,191. We had our initial meeting on the new software that council approved. They requested some information which we forwarded to them. We're having the second meeting in about 10 days. So the process has begun of converting our information into the new software. We're still several months away from going live, but the process has begun, and I'll keep you updated on what that process looks like. Any questions?
I have one. How's the status on the hotel, motel taxes? Are they up to date right now?
No, we're currently doing an audit of certain hotel properties, and there's at least 2 properties that have not paid their tax. So at some point, we will do enforcement, which means locking their doors.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Moving on to item number 10, discussion of possible action on presentation by Energy World Net to assist with operator qualification, knowledge, course performance, evaluations, and documentation.
Yes, so I want to say thank you guys for having us. I have done a demonstration for David Wright and Geraldo for their operator qualification program. Currently, you guys do a manual submission, manual written exams. Everything is by paper and pen. What we offer is a computer-based software solution. So your guys that are coming in working on those pipelines that you guys were referring to earlier, they can actually do a computer-based training, the exam online, and the performance evaluation immediately, which is uploaded into our system by our mobile app or desktop or laptop. Once those PEs are completed, they are automatically updated for a 1 year or a 3 year, depending on the certificate that they're completing. Not only does our training do operator qualifications that cover the things that David and Geraldo actually need to be certified and compliant, we also can upload custom content. So for the city itself, if you guys have internal regulations for OSHA, for HR, soft skills, anything that you guys currently have for onboarding or anything that you guys have manually, we can actually submit that into our system and create a digital computer-based training with an exam associated with it for all of your employees that they can take, complete, and have the certificates uploaded however you guys see fit. And then whoever checks those records, it's actually available with their username and password. They can pull up, the mayor's name, pull up all of his qualifications that he's taken, and it'll give a monthly expiration, like gonna expire in 30 to 60 days, gonna expire in less than 3 weeks, and just keep bringing it down to where whoever's administrating that account can then get with that employee and state, hey, you're up for expiration in 30 days. You may want to come in and go ahead and take your operator qualifications or your soft skills or your OSHA, regulated requirements or whatever you guys do internally. So we did have a very nice presentation for you guys, but unfortunately we just didn't have it available here. And we did drive 6.5 hours, so just so y'all know, from Decatur, Texas. And I wish we would have had a private plane, for y'all's nice airport, but we just don't have that right now. So I'm not sure if they have sent the proposal, but I've already, originally it was for 5 OQ employees, and I think we are upping that to 10 to 12. So I will adjust those numbers, but if you just want like a baseline, what that's going to cost to go ahead and get started, it's a 1 year. Every year it's renewed. and you're looking at about 5,935 for the total 12 max, but I can adjust that accordingly to the users. And then hopefully, you know, you guys see that they like it and it's very user friendly, and maybe you guys could utilize it for some of your other departments. Y'all have any questions? Or
Do we get a trial?
I can set up like a temporary sandbox account that you guys can kind of play with and see all of the libraries that we have, and that includes your operator qualification programs. They've actually submitted y'all's OQ plan to me already, which we will have to create that, import that in, but we do have how many libraries of ones that you would actually just have access to just because you've signed up?
Yeah, so we have over 700 computer-based trainings, and some of the libraries that we offer: OSHA for safety awareness training, propane. We do have some plumbing content as well, and we also offer professional development courses as well. And any custom content, any custom training, we can import into the system, and we can keep track of all of the people that are taking that training.
But if you would, you know, like a temporary, you know, couple week trial, we could set up a demo account for you guys, and y'all can utilize that if you'd like to. I do know that this is something that you guys were trying to kind of get in. So if you do that, it's going to be for like 1 to 2 users. It's not going to be for the 12 users. So you could get in there and play around if you'd like, and just kind of see how it works internally.
We have looked at the system, and we feel that it fits our environment, and we recommend its approval.
Yes, and you guys had mentioned West Texas Gas was y'all's supplier, which is also
Correct.
a client operator of ours as well.
Excellent. Councilman, any questions?
I have one.
Sure.
The amount that you mentioned, 5,000 something, is that only just the software for them to take the test themselves, or will somebody be sent down to sit down in the classroom with them?
No, that's not in-person training. So how our trainings are done is it's based on tasks. So when you assign the task, like you were stating, the Fusion, it will be a computer-based training based on Fusion. It's audio, video. It's offered in English and in Spanish. They will have their own all 12 of them are going to have their own username and password. So they would log in at their convenience, and they would watch it, hear it, listen. They can watch it over again, and then the exam part of it is multiple choice. And at the end of them, if there's a performance evaluation associated with it, you guys would then designate whoever's going to be authorized to evaluate that person actually performing that Fusion. And then it's completed. So that's a 3-part before it's complete.
Yeah, and the notifications for those, each task has its own interval depending on how often it's performed. So it may be 3 years, it may be 1 year, just depending on the task. And we do have an expiring dashboard, one of the dashboards in the pamphlet that I handed out to you guys. And those notifications can go to email as well. So you're getting notified if people are coming up for expiration on their qualifications. So you can go ahead and prepare and get them requalified.
Will a certificate being sent to the employee, a little card, or just a certificate paper like this?
So it's not a card or a certificate. It's going to show completed. But what we do have is every user, if you have that pulled up, every user can log into a mobile app. It's free, Apple or Android, and they pull up their profile picture with a QR code, and you can scan that, and it's going to pull up all of their certifications.
Okay.
So it's super user-friendly, and also the evaluator can actually perform those evaluations from their mobile app. So as he's going out and checking John Doe on his Fusion, he can actually take notes, take pictures, approve it, and it automatically goes into his account as he's certified that it's completed.
And for the certification process, or the certification piece that you were mentioning as well, we can upload a certification template to your account, and the employees will actually be able to download that certificate and print it themselves with their own login to the system for each task.
Excellent. Councilman, any other questions?
No, sir.
If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 10. First motion by Mr. Cotulla. I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Ladies,
Thank you all very
much for that report.
for having
Thank you.
us.
Moving on to item number 11, discussion with possible action to approve a standard form of agreement between the City of Cotulla and Frank Architects in the amount of $37,930 for Plaza Florita, restrooms, facilities, and parking.
As you know, several years ago, we bought the adjacent lots to Plaza Florita that have been abandoned since. And we want to relocate the restroom facilities from the plaza to the park, to the land, and create additional parking so that more people can access the actual plaza and we can get a clearer view of the historic landmark well house.
Any questions on item number 11, Councilman? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 11.
Make a motion.
First motion made by Mr. Ayala. I need a second. Second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 12, presentation by Cristina Martinez of CAST. Ms. Martinez?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Obviously, I'm not Miss Martinez. I'm Casey Brown, longtime Cotulla resident. And we're kind of here for two reasons tonight. The first big one is to say thank you to the city and the councilmen. I think it was last month or the month before, you guys approved to donate this building to Jamie Whitwell, who is hosting a fundraiser on our behalf. We are from the Children's Alliance of South Texas, a child advocacy center. And so thank you. We appreciate it so much. Christina, my coworker and the development director, is going to kind of tell you guys briefly who we are, what we do, and what this month of April is all about.
These for council and mayor. Sorry, everybody else. I don't have hats. Once again, I'm Cristina Martinez. I work for Children's Alliance of South Texas. I want everyone to look at me and remember me. And remember our organization, because it is going to be the most important thing you're going to hear today. And y'all hear a lot of important things. Gas, sanitation, utilities. But what I'm going to tell you today is that 5,000 children will be victimized by abuse and neglect in the state of Texas. Ouch. That's 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys. That is a fact. Last year, Cotulla, LaSalle County had 40 forensic interviews, 5 medical exams, that's what you think they are, sexual assault nurses exams, 107 child therapy sessions. My partner here is the clinical director. She can tell you all about that. That's just here in LaSalle County. That may not seem like a lot, apparently, into that 65,000, but our center serves the 5 counties that make up the 81st district. Y'all are on the far south. I don't have to tell y'all that I know y'all probably feel forgotten out here in Cotulla. Y'all are the last stop before Laredo, and driving down here from Wilson County, I'm like, oh my gosh, did I forget the millet turnoff? Is it Dilley? Is it Cotulla? That's what I said. I was like, I'm sure y'all don't see me much. I don't get out here very much. I knew we had to come out here to Cotulla because April is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. Awareness is what I just told you. 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 6 boys. 172 kids today in Texas. That's awareness. Y'all are all aware. Take that information, do what you do. The other part of it, prevention, means action. What are we gonna do to stop this? Please, put me out of business tomorrow. Y'all already started. The city of Cotulla said, we're gonna take the center, take the Alexander, this beautiful center for the day, Miss Whitwell, do your fundraiser. But I'm trying to tell y'all, what did it mean for y'all to do that? What it meant was the city of Cotulla helped raise $30,000. That's how much we made if any of y'all sent y'all's lovely ladies out there to bingo, okay? That's great. That's just from one act of kindness from y'all, the leaders here in this room. I am here to encourage y'all to keep the momentum going, okay? Don't stop. Let's come back next April and let's make it 60,000. Cotulla, Texas has the opportunity to be like a front runner in this stance against child abuse. And I say this because I bothered Bianca to get on this agenda. I bothered you. That's what I do. I bothered tons of city secretaries. Do you know how many presentations I have this month? 2 in 5 counties. One of them is my hometown, Floresville. I think they just felt bad for me. You guys don't know me, and y'all are listening to me, and y'all are looking at me, and I know you feel my passion, and I'm here to humbly thank you. But I'm here to tell you, don't stop. Keep leading the fight. If it means tomorrow, not tomorrow, that's Good Friday. If it means Monday, you stop by 202 South Stewart Street and visit Casey and take a walk of the center that, guess what, y'all helped donate in 2015. Do it. Go grab a shirt, read your packets, go home and be like, hey, oh my gosh, this woman just kind of woke me up. I'm doing a good job, but what more can we do? I'm saying thank you from the bottom of my heart for making your stand against child abuse. But I'm asking you to continue to protect the children, believe these children, and just advocate. My topic today has been once a child advocate, always a child advocate. Everyone in this room today has just become a child advocate, okay? Now I empower you and expect everyone to go empower someone else and keep fighting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Martinez, for that presentation. Moving on to item number 13, discussion and possible action on creating a charter commission.
The fact that we believe, in spite of the census, that we are over 5,000 in population, we had discussed on and off about creating a charter commission so that the city can operate, instead of it being a general law city, it can operate as a home rule city. Part of the benefit of doing that is that the ETJ of the city, when you become a home rule city, is 6 miles instead of 1.5 miles. And you're able to get closer to the plants who are outside the city, who are able to negotiate a contract with the city to prevent annexation, and they will pay you something called payment in lieu of taxes. They've invested $150, $120 million in their plants, and so they don't necessarily want to pay you taxes. So when you do the annexation and your ETJ allows you to go in that direction, some of these companies come to the city, negotiate a contract, and you're able to increase your base ad valorem rate. And so you can lessen the taxes that are charged to the people in the community by getting this additional revenue coming in from a different source. The mayor, I think, is prepared to give you some names which have to be ratified by the commission. It normally takes probably about a year for it to be put together. I had always used the figure of 4 persons per water meter because that's how we get charged by TCQ as having population in the city, and we use that figure to estimate the number of people in town. What I didn't know was that the water guys are being charged 3 persons per hotel room, and we have 24 hotels, which makes us supply water for a population possibly of 12,000 people. And so we're feeling the strains of our expansion, but we're not getting the benefit. And we want to do this so that we can move forward. And Steve and I are prepared to sit with the members of the commission and go forward. It's a lot of copy paste type of thing. The benefit to the city council is that instead of 2-year terms, you're able to have 4-year terms so that you don't have to run every 2 years. It goes that for the mayor as well. And so there are many other things that are home rule city. Pearsall is home rule city. Laredo is home rule city. San Antonio, Hondo, Divine, those areas are all home rule cities. So it does have a certain amount of benefit to give you more latitude in your operation. And that's why we recommend that you do form a charter commission and move forward. You will have to take the charter and have an election once you're ready to have the citizens of the community approve the charter.
The names that I've selected, their members are from our community. Some of them are businessmen, very well educated. Most of them are educated, and they've lived here for a very, very long time, or they're from here. The first one is E.T. Page. He volunteered right away. He said yes. The second one that E.T. Page recommended, and I try to keep the age, get members to have a age variety, difference of at least 10 to 20 years. That way we can composite all the ideas that they have with maybe a younger generation as well. The second one was Pablo Gonzalez. He works at our pharmacy. He's a pharmacist. The third one is Raul Rodriguez. He is an educator, retired. And the fourth one would be Catarino Ocio. And the fifth one is Ty Snowden. I've selected these people. I try to be very careful with my selection because they have to comprehend what we need in this charter. So that's why I've selected them. Hopefully you see a value on what we're trying to do. It'll mean something big for our city, So with that being said, is there any questions?
Mayor, I believe if I'm trying to look for it now. I believe that the city passed something a few years ago, and that it just kind of
fizzled out.
We never did anything, but I believe we did adopt an ordinance.
We never selected names.
Right.
What I remember.
I'm trying to find the ordinance. I'll probably need some time to take a look at this and see where we are exactly procedurally. Because obviously, I know we passed it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think we ever selected.
We didn't select any names.
Right.
And today I have names, so if city council is prepared to accept those names, then we can move forward and see what else we need to do to follow the proper steps.
One of the things that I wanted to explain to the council members tonight is that we have adopted the ordinance. The council can either appoint them or the mayor can appoint them, and the council approves them. You'll actually have a commission, you'll have some meetings, you'll put together a charter, which is basically a constitution for the city. And you can go online and look at them for the city of Hondo. Actually, our firm did that one. I've done some work with the city of Cuero, and there's some other. I think we may have done the one for Pearsall. I don't recall, as we were their attorneys off and on. So what you would do then is you put together the charter, and then once you have it, you order an election, and the citizens say yes or no. And so what that means is you're currently a Type A municipality, which means that you're governed by the provisions of the local government code that specifically apply to a Type A municipality. A charter can run in any form of government. You can continue to run the way you are. You can create a council where the mayor gets to vote, and in fact, some places they do that. There's any number of places. We did one, I think, for the city of, I think it's Rosenberg, and it's actually a big city, and they have a 3-member commission. That's what they always had, and they kept it, so they were able to do that. So under Texas law, when a general law municipality wants to do something, it has to find the authority in the local government code that says, yeah, you can do this. A home rule municipality can do basically what it wants to do as far as municipal governance goes, as long as it doesn't conflict with state law. Like, for example, you couldn't pass a city income tax in the city of Cotulla, or you couldn't have a 100-member council. I mean, there are things that you can't do. The advantage to it is it's more local government. You know, it's actually the citizens are doing it. And if they don't approve it, it doesn't happen. So it has to be voted upon. So it's a big step for a city like Cotulla to do that, or for any city to do it. It is generally considered the highest level of self-governance that you can adopt as a city. Having said all of that, the legislature is always chipping away at city powers, particularly annexation powers. And every time they meet, you know, they're chipping away at the city's ability to do things without, to unilaterally do things, or to do things without an election. But they don't really pick on little cities. They're after San Antonio, Houston, Austin, and Dallas. That's who they're after. You know, they don't like them doing things because they tend to be oriented different than the way that the state government is. So I don't think it would have that much of an effect. The day-to-day things that the city does, it would just give you more authorities, and you can have longer council terms. I mean, you can do other things as well. Right now, you have 2-year terms. You have an election every year. There are a lot of different variations that you can do, and I would like to see that ordinance, and unfortunately, I don't have it. I know we did approve it, and it was probably 2018, 2019. No, it got approved.
I think we did approve it.
I think we did too.
We just never.
We never
created
selected
the
names.
commission.
Right. Other things came up, and we didn't get.
But if you have a motion to reapprove or whatever, and,
Well,
and approve the
I
names,
know it was
you'll be okay. So
where it is, I don't know. It should be in our code of ordinances. I'm trying to find it. I don't know, Mayor, if you want to have them take action tonight. I need to go back and see where we are with this thing. And
Well,
I think it was just a matter of appointing the people.
I would like to take action tonight, as long as it doesn't set you back or set anything back, so I don't think it's gonna hurt anything.
You'll just start having a series of meetings. These
Right.
people will get together. We'll meet with them. We'll give them ideas. We'll show them other charters. Cities have things like, for example, a Type A city cannot have initiative, referendum, or recall. Charters do, and they did it in Hondo. They recall people there. They
like the city of Corpus Christi, some of its growth related to the refineries is that they were able to they made contracts with all the refineries that are on the ship channel, so that they all pay a payment in lieu of taxes to the city of Corpus.
Right.
You have the city of Pearsall that has the same power, was able to negotiate a payment in lieu of taxes with the electric power plant that's north of it. And they were only able to do that because of their charter.
We, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Larry and I and Jeff Snowden met,
Roy Martin
met with these guys with Anadarko, and they're like, yeah.
Basically, they blew us off.
Until you do it, we're not going to do anything. And in those meetings, and I was there. There were 2 or 3 of them I think we had, and they'll tell you, we put our plants here because there's a city here. The people that work at our plants, we're going to get them from your people that live in the town.
And we're not
They go
gonna
to
pay
school
any
here.
taxes.
You know, if there's a fire out there, if there's things that happen out there, you know, recently with, thank God, you know, the pandemic is kind of dying down, but all those things that the city does, people move to cities because cities are a collection of services, right? The only reason there's a city of Cotulla is because people got together and they said, we can take care of each other, we can build roads, we can build schools, we can build hospitals, we can do all these things, and we're forming a community. But some businesses come in and they say, we don't want to pay for any of that stuff. We just want to come in here and get it. It takes care of the free rider issue. And I'm not saying that they are, but that's generally where you have those problems. That's why a city can regulate plats and subdivisions of land in its extraterritorial jurisdiction. Because these home builders, not here, but they'll go right outside the city limits where you have to give them everything. They'll build a huge subdivision and they want city services.
For free.
And they do it on purpose. Because it's more profit to them if they don't have to provide these services themselves. Again, I'm not saying that even applies to anybody that we've been talking about, but they are not going to take you seriously unless you have the threat of annexation. And
Yeah.
it goes on all over the
Yes,
place.
Mr.
Question, you mentioned that the radius of a 6-mile radius.
Yes.
Can it be more than that or just 6 miles?
No, it's a standard.
It's in the. I need to check on that. It depends on your population.
I think it's a standard.
Yeah, we have a mile now because we have declared that our population
When you're
exceeds
a
5,000.
type A city, if you're under 5,000, it's half a mile. If you're over 5,000, it's a mile. And if you go to charter, it can be 6 miles.
Yep.
And the maximum of people that can be on the board is 5 or?
It needs to be a small enough number to where you can agree without having a cumbersome board. Everybody has different opinions and it's harder to reach consensus. So the smaller you are, the easier it is to get to the point that you have a document ready to go to the voters.
And it takes about a year, and you can get it and you say, you know what, this is terrible, start over again. Or you can say, you can just say, you know what, we don't like anything you did, here's ours. I mean, it's purely an advisory committee. There's no obligation of the city council to accept what they've done. The idea, of course, is that you have people that you put on there that you think are attuned, that have an interest in the community, that are looking to better the community. And there are some pretty standard things, and then there's other things that are different from town to town. And you don't want to make it so complicated that every single thing that you're doing is, you for example, the city of Cuero. You have to read every ordinance twice before you approve it, right? You get an ordinance here, you can approve it that night, unless there's some weird thing about it. But that thing was probably written in the 1940s. I've looked at the city of Alice's charter, which I don't think they've ever updated. I mean, I don't know when that thing was written, and it's so antiquated. They don't even call the city, they call the city secretary the city clerk. So does San Antonio. They call their city secretary city
We
clerk.
went from 3 and we felt that 3 was too small, so we went from 3 to 5. We think that 5 is just right.
You did? When did we approve it?
It's a resolution or an ordinance? The final document that committee puts together comes to the council to be approved for the council to decide whether it goes forward to the voters. So you have the final approval in the document anyway. And there'll be probably a series of town hall meetings all through the process.
Any other questions?
Mayor, can we move on to the rest of the agenda, and let me look at what Bianca just sent me, and then we can go back to this during the meeting.
Okay. I need a motion to postpone.
No, just keep going on with the meeting, and then we'll come back to it.
Item 14 forward.
Okay. Moving on to item number 14, discussion and possible action to approve a historical district master plan.
Thank you. Good evening. The City of Cotulla commissioned Frank Architects to work on the historic master plan for the historic district, and finally we have the final draft for you. The one that you have printed in there, I think it's a little bit, the print was not correct, but I think great. Mr. Dovalina right now has a couple of hard copies that you can browse through. This master plan was made through public meetings with the City of Cotulla stakeholders and public. We conducted short surveys. We started out with a small a workshop for the public regarding the historic guidelines first. Then we held our first community meeting for the Cotulla Historic District Master Plan, and we came back, worked on the master plan. We came with a lot of ideas. We heard a lot of comments. Then we came back finally on November 2019. We heard back your comments from that draft. Some of our ideas were perhaps a little too exciting, or where we needed to tone it down or scale it up, and we worked on the comments that we heard from them. Then this is finally the culmination of those comments from the first meeting, the second meeting, and now the final draft. So with that in mind, you need to understand that this is a living document, that it is just the initial guidelines and the initial path for implementation, and should be amended and implemented as Cotulla starts to grow. Many of these ideas, the City of Cotulla has actually started to work on, on their own. So as you complete and implement each of these plans and visions, this plan is supposed to be amended in a living document to grow with you. With that in mind, I don't know if you would like to ask any questions.
Any questions, Councilman, on item number 14? On the master plan? If not, I seek the first motion to approve item number 14. First motion by Mr. Zertuche. I need a second. Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 15, discussion possible action to approve historical design guidelines.
Well, I'll stay here. As I was saying before, this we made in collaboration with Terry Myers from Preservation Central. We worked with her on several projects. She's now working with you for the Cristo Rey historic nomination. And it's always a pleasure to work with Terry. She's such a fountain of knowledge, and she came here to Cotulla and threw out a whole day workshop so that everybody here could understand what the difference was between guidelines, standards for a historic district. And through this workshop, all the citizens could come to understand what means to identify a historic architectural feature, for example, what it means to implement it as guidelines, as you are doing today, or you are planning to do today, or what it means for them to become standards. And during that workshop, it was determined by the citizens that they would prefer for them to be guidelines, and that is correct. And if you browse through these guidelines, you will see how it is, they are to be implemented, how they are to be defined. They are not, how are they to be enforced? And that is in the power of the city, and that is through the historic board that is now in place. So with that in mind, I don't know if you have any questions regarding them.
Councilman, any questions on item number 15? Historical guidelines? No? Now I seek a first motion to approve item number 15. First motion by Mr. Cotulla. I need a second. Second by Mr. Hondo Garcia. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to item number 16, discussion and possible action on a presentation by Mr. Armando and David Hinojosa on the proposal of Veterans Monument. David, welcome. Mr. Hinojosa, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Manager, and Council. My name is David Hinojosa. It's my father, Armando Hinojosa. Again, we're coming back, and everybody should have a booklet on the Veterans Monument that we wanted to propose to you all. So I don't know if you want me to read through it, or if you want to look at the second page and see how the monument is going to look like, or if Council has any questions for us on the proposal that we have. And there's also a maquette up front as well that you can see. Consists of an eagle, and it represents also a Gold Star mother, and she's holding an American flag, and she's being consoled by an angel. And this is a monument that's going to be representing the veterans of Cotulla. So if you have any questions on any of the packets, or
I have one question.
Yes.
The names that will be going on the plaque,
Mm-hmm.
on the monument, from what wards are they gonna?
Okay, I was talking to my son about that. What, if you would approve it, the main thing that I'm gonna be working is on the sculptures. You will tell us what to put in the plaque. You wanna put Cotulla or whatever you wanna do,
Yeah.
Veterans Memorial, that's up to you. All the wording has to be approved by you.
But you're talking about the fallen heroes, right? Now those,
correct.
I know that I've been to the museum here, and they do have a section in the back, but I would check with, it, and if you look at the model down the second page, the two granite, the granite here on the side, there will be sandblasted on the sides here. So we would actually,
All the different wars.
yeah,
At the very beginning.
so, yeah, so we'll,
Still add some for the future.
so yeah, we would get the names actually. You guys can guide us on someone that we can work with here, and also work with the museum with any names, and those will be sandblasted in there, in the granite. So yeah.
And like I said, the plaque, the metal plaques are gonna be, they're gonna be 2 metal plaques. Show us, right
Yeah,
here.
which is the
Maybe this is easier.
yeah, you want to show them?
This is gonna be a bronze plaque, 4x4. This is also a bronze plaque, 4x4. This one is 4x8 granite, this is 4x8 granite. This is gonna be blasted in, and these are gonna be cast. So, somebody has to be responsible, if you all go for it, to get us all the names that can be blasted in there. And then the wording in the plaques will you give us an idea, or I'll give you ideas, and we work together for whatever you wanna put, Cotulla veterans, or veterans only, or whatever you want, that's up to you all.
Yeah, because the first plaque under the eagle, we have Veterans Memorial, Men and Women of Honor. But we could also do, when if you want to put Cotulla, City of Cotulla, or Cotulla Veterans Memorial and a Women of Honor. But once we get to that point, like I said, we can talk with you all and discuss that. And also this little plaque, which we never mentioned, is this is a plaque that, it's a bronze plaque as well, and this goes all the council members that were part of the project, so.
And something that's very important now, because a lot of women are going to war now, so we have to put women in there also.
Yeah.
You can see that in Ukraine, you see the ladies.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you have any other questions, and like I said, we're here to answer any questions with anything that you all have.
And how much
Yeah.
is it gonna be?
The cost is $285,000, and that is 2 life-size figures, of course, the angel, the Gold Star Mother, and the eagle, and that includes all the bronze plaques.
And Tita.
Oh, and we're also, I know that we, you all have the park of Tita Maltzberger. We're gonna go ahead, that's also included in there. You get a bronze bust as well. And that goes to the city of Cotulla as a package deal on that.
And how big is that?
And that's just it'll be,
It's a bust.
yeah, probably from here up, just.
Okay.
Yeah, and you all can either put that in the park, you know, 'cause Florita Park, or wherever you all would like to put it as well. And it can be placed also there in, you know, where you have Joseph Cotulla, but like I said, you all can place that wherever you want as well. So, yeah.
Can we talk about it on a closed session or something?
Huh?
Can we talk about it on a closed
No.
session?
The only thing I have is, will it be additional cost to get the names?
No.
It's all included, right?
Yeah, no, everything is included. Everything, sandblasting, the only thing we don't do is the cement work. We don't, you know, if there's any pedestals, but we'll be in charge of the granite, you know, putting on, you know, getting the granite, attaching to the granite. So that is the price for everything, including all bronze plaques.
But you were mentioning that, you were needing somebody to gather all the.
Well, I can,
information.
yeah.
You go to the veteran service officer of the county and he'll provide you with.
Yeah, and I can just verify that and go to the museum, or you can assign somebody.
Even if we
Yeah.
would miss somebody, you can always blast it in later, but of course you have to blast it in for what war he was in. And
Yeah.
there should be space for all the wars.
Yeah.
And you all decide how you want it spaced, everything, in other words, we'll work together how you want to put the names.
We're gonna dedicate Florita Plaza hopefully on the 5th of May. And there isn't an area to put a bronze, bust, but there is a place to put a bronze statue, which I think would be much more relevant and less expensive, but it's up to you.
This money comes from the hotel tax.
Yes,
Yes.
but you remember that we have, 2 pending property acquisitions that may cost the majority of the money that's in that budget. So we are in the 6th month of the year, and we probably won't know for sure what the budget will be in June. If you heard the financial reports that Jorge gave you today, some of the funds are barely making it. They've got less than $100,000 in balance, and there's 2 funds that are actually in the red that the other funds are supporting. It may not stay that way because, for instance, the water is about 99,000, but we're coming into the peak seasons when the revenue that they produce will offset what we've been going through, and it may look different having seen a little bit more of the budget here.
Sure.
You know, we just paid for Pool Street, which was close to $1 million.
And we're starting Ortiz also.
Well, that's a grant. We're gonna get reimbursed on the grant, but the only thing I'm saying is the budget is tight. But it's up to you.
So if we approve it, if this gets approved, could we wait until the new budget year starts and then see if we could adjust things, or
You
could
have
we
to-
wait further?
You have to have money the day you approve the thing. You can't, veremos a ver si cae dinero.
Right. You can't have an unfunded liability, so if you approve it, you're gonna have to immediately find the money
You fund it.
to pay
Okay.
for it. The acquisition of the property around the Plaza Florita, ideally, you use your hotel occupancy taxes to do it, but you could use general fund to do it. And you could use general fund to buy art too, but that's usually not done.
We don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a lot of money, $285,000.
Yeah.
I don't know what the budget's gonna be for the other stuff, but it won't be inexpensive.
Yeah, I figured the acquisition of the properties is probably gonna be over $400,000, more or less.
Yeah, that's a lot of
The two
money.
properties we have talked about.
Now, the other option is you can talk to your financial advisors and see if there's any kind of financing mechanism that you can enter into so that you don't have to pay it out of your current budget. Those guys are always around. They've got an idea if it's something you want to do.
If you want to, I can have Robert Tijerina come in and present at the next meeting and give you an idea of what the finances are that are out there and see what's available.
We could table it for now.
Or you can ask David and Armando to give you a proposal on Florita Maltzberger and put her statue, full-size statue, in the plaza itself that has her name.
Yeah.
We can also do it in sections, do, like you said, we
Yeah.
can do the,
Yeah, if it's something
I
you
think
wanted to do.
the statue of Florence Maltzberger is going to be more important.
You would have to do Florita before you do the veterans. No, I'm not talking about the Gold Star Mother or anything, but
The life-size figure, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and put her at the park,
Because
right? And in
correct.
in Florita Park.
Correct.
Because the
Yeah.
idea is to
Sure.
create a historic square
Sure.
where the
Okay.
Wellhausen is
Okay.
and where the other buildings are.
Okay.
And the square already has a historic landmark.
Okay.
And the school has a historic
Sure.
landmark.
Sure.
And so the idea is to encapsulate all of that
Sure.
and make it a destination.
Okay. And it's something that we can do also, and like I said, if I can be invited next meeting, I can give you a proposal for Florita.
Let's
you
do
know,
that, and we'll
and
table
that-
this item.
Yeah, and that will be fine, and that way I can give you a proposal for that.
You can
know,
do it in
if that would-
phases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very important to remember the fallen heroes of
Yeah.
Cotulla.
Yeah, and this
So
is something I wanted
we
to
could
pitch.
get approval and do
Yeah.
it in phases, or should we
Yeah.
just table this item? And
I would talk to Tijerina, cause that's a lot of money. I mean, by the time
So-
you buy the property, if that red store
Yes.
thing, which I think might
agree.
have fallen through,
I agree.
figure out how you're gonna pay for it before you spend the money.
So we could table this item for further down the line, but come
But
back.
to
Do you want me to give you a
us a
presentation? You
proposal
want me to
on-
give
on-
you a
yes,
proposal
on
on that?
Maltzberger.
Yes.
And that way,
Statue,
okay.
yes.
That'll be fine. And like I said, thank you. This was just an idea that we wanted to pitch to you all, and since you all have many
It's a very good
sculptures
one.
here,
It's a very good idea, and our historical.
but of course we understand, the.
I'm gonna do my very best with Florita because I only have one good picture.
Yeah.
We
And I know, I don't even know.
have
Do we have more?
we
We
have
have
a
the book and
contact
we
with
do-
her
Yeah, we
daughter.
This is the best picture that I found.
Yeah.
We
I think
we
I
have a
can-
contact with her daughter.
Okay.
Karina has her email.
Okay. I'll get-
Because,
how she was and everything
yeah.
else.
Oh, we can get.
her
Oh,
only
you can
son.
try and get- Yeah, well, I'll get, yeah, I'll
Her
get your
her
information.
son passed away about February, I think,
Okay,
and so we've made contact with the
Okay.
daughter of the son,
okay.
Okay,
Grandmother.
the
Sure,
grandmother.
sure, and I'll work then on a, you know, if you wanna table this, and then let me just, cause this is something,
Yes.
you know, for next time, if I could present it, that would be great, you know?
So it's gonna
That
be
would be
life
great.
size, right?
Yeah.
Life size.
Yes.
Full size,
Okay,
yes.
okay,
Thank you very much, Pete.
Thank you.
yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
appreciate it, thank you.
She played the.
Council,
for years.
I need a motion to table item number 16. I need a first motion.
Church
First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, I need a second.
photos.
Second by Mr. Sertucci, all in favor say aye.
I'll ask
All opposed say nay.
father,
Motion carries.
the father.
Moving on to item number 17, discussion and possible action on the use of dedicated street alleys by residents.
This item was brought to me by one of the councilmen, Rodriguez. There is a situation off Hidalgo Street, and there is a conflict between the neighbors, and I guess we're gonna have to settle that deal. But the use of street alleys is not unusual to this town, but it is a thing that sits out there that we've not addressed and we've never said anything. But there are certain people who, when they platted the property, dedicated an alley. And if you don't close the alley through official council action, it remains an active alley. And some people have put up gates, houses, fences, all kinds of things, and we need to start addressing that issue.
Any questions?
We have had, as I spoke to Councilman Rodriguez, we have had it brought to our attention about this particular location, and I have had 2 individuals go to that area and look at where the fence was placed. And the next thing is to ask for the deed of the property to make sure that he places the gate on his property and that it is not an alley. So if he places the gate at the end of the property, he's okay. Anywhere else may be a situation that's in doubt.
Yes, that alley has been brought to my attention to 2 of my front neighbors, and it's just that they just want to know where they're at.
Yes. That is the issue. The gentleman did buy the property in the back. I confirmed by one of our employees who was the son of the lady there, and that he did say he bought the land. The guys told me, and I'll ask for a report, that they've surveyed the property and that the area that he fenced is actually his. So we just need to verify that. But there are other issues in the city, not just that one.
Look, on that situation that Mr. Rodriguez is bringing up, that owner of that property, he can't have different entrances to that property.
He can have what?
Different entrance
What?
to the property.
What you have is you have a town that has developed land that has never been platted. And all of a sudden you have houses in the middle of these properties, and I can point to certain places. If they had been platted, we would have made sure that they had appropriate entrances. But in this case, it's pay as you go or whatever. You buy the land, you close the gate, you do an entrance. The property used to have an entrance that came off of Martinez. The guy in front bought the land that's on Martinez. He closed off the entrance.
It was done with a gentleman's agreement instead of making
And
documentation.
that's why you have to have platted property.
And those who made those agreements are now deceased, so property's been sold.
There's a property off of Dilly Lane that has the same situation. There's another property behind the new elementary school that has never been platted. And we need to get all those things done so we can have a complete town that is actually platted and properly planned for future growth. So we don't have these recurring issues that come up because things weren't done in a certain way.
Right, and the way that you historically dealt with that is you don't give them municipal services, which you can do if they don't plat. You know, except that they're already connected, so, you know, that's...
Some cities require that the property, when they come in to get a water or sewer tap, that they be properly platted or they don't get anything. And that's how you kind of force the issue. But in many cases, that was not done. And so that's why you have these pockets of areas that have never been platted. But we will get to it.
Do we need approval to instruct staff?
No, we're
Is this just
moving
discussion?
forward. It's a good issue to bring up, and it's a good issue to discuss because something needs to be done.
Any other questions on,
But if you pass a motion that says that you want to address that, then that gives us direction to be able to address that.
well, let's approve item number 17 with the instructions to address staff to fix or try to move forward on following the proper procedures on getting it in order. So I seek a first motion. First motion by Mr. Satucci, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 18, discussion of possible action on a request submitted by Mary Jane Garcia asking for permission to place a portable building on her property located at 513 South Goodwin to permanently live in. Mary Jane?
Hi. Yes.
Welcome.
Well, I mean, I already had a building there before in the same property, but I just wanted a little bit bigger. So I just wanted permission to see if it can be possibly done.
Is this an RV or what is it?
It's like the portable buildings. They build them and then they bring them in. The one that I had before already came with electrical framing, everything. It's just
you haven't bought it yet, have you?
I haven't bought it yet.
Okay.
Good.
We have a 2006 building code, and it has to meet that. So when they give you the certificate for the manufacturer of the building, it has to say that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't say that, then you're gonna have to hire a plumber and an electrician to meet code, and it's gonna have to be inspected by an inspector.
These are new buildings.
Okay.
They're built
Perfect.
new. Electrical's new. Everything's new in it.
Perfect.
Also, it's gonna have all the electrical.
It already has
Okay.
electrical new. It's brand new build. I mean, nobody's lived in it. It's brand new.
It has
And
to
it's
meet
a
code.
size 16 by 60.
As long as it meets code, and you might want to bring that in first to see if it'll pass with us. And if it does, then you'll be instructed on
Should
what's
be
your next
fine.
step.
Okay.
And you'll
Yeah,
be
because
fine.
I already had one there before, but it was not as long, but it was the same width according to the size of my lot, right? So when I did, it got approved the last time. It's just this one's gonna be a little bit longer, which the lot is still. I mean, it's 117 feet, and this is only gonna be 60 feet.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
need to check the placement of it to get the setbacks.
Can you ask them to give you plans and specs
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I did last time was
It's okay.
take in the measurements and all that, and then to get the permit so they could bring it in.
Pending the certificate of the 2006 code, building code, and pending the setbacks of the city, I'll instruct council if it's okay to approve item number 8 based on those two items.
I'll make a
Sir?
motion.
First motion made by Mr. Zatruce, second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Okay.
Mary Jane, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Don't forget to bring those in
Yes,
before
I will.
before you buy it.
Okay.
Moving on to item number 19, discussion and possible action to approve payment to Joe Galvan to cover the expense of repair to his vehicle after damage from driving over an open manhole. Claim for damage for forms was submitted and denied by our insurance.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Mr. Galvan, how are you?
Doing all right. I made a claim because I fell down on a manhole. I'm not asking for a lot, just for the damage of the car and the mechanic. I don't think it was my fault. That thing broke and it's on a hill. As I was going down, the back tire hit and it messed up my car. So I had to buy another truck.
What is the amount of the damage?
You don't have the paper.
40.
I posted pictures and everything that I talked to and all that.
How much is it?
940.
$940.66.
Our insurance company denied the claim, but if you want, you can treat it as a nuisance and make a payment. We would have to ask Steve to come up with a little contract that he would sign to release the city from any other claim.
I believe this is the day that the 18-wheeler.
I'm aware,
Okay,
but
you're aware.
we're not responsible for what the 18-wheeler did or didn't do.
Okay.
And so, that's why I say it's a nuisance claim.
Yeah.
You can decide that you wanna do it to be friendly, but you're not obligated. And in order to protect the city, Steve has to do a document that he releases us from any other damages or any other claims.
Mr. Galvan, are you willing to do that?
Fine.
I'll make a motion.
I make another motion.
Any other questions? First, I seek a first motion to approve item number 19. First motion is made by Mr. Ayala, second by Mr. Rodriguez. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Galvan, thank you and good luck. Discussion and possible action, moving on to item number 20. Discussion and possible action on an application certification for payment number 12 submitted by McGuire Iron in the amount of $71,725 for the airport elevated storage tank project.
You already have a contract. This is just to give you information that there is a draw on the account in order to move forward.
I seek a first motion to approve item number 20. First motion is made by Mr. Sertuche. I need a second. Second by Mr. Hondo Garcia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 21, discussion of possible action to approve payment number 10 submitted by CDM Smith in the amount of $57,096 for professional services regarding tank task order number 2 wastewater treatment plant improvement project.
You already have a contract and this is
So-
information.
This is just reaffirming all the, even though we already approved it, we like to approve them individually, so. I seek a first motion to approve item number 21. First motion by Mr. Sertuche, I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ayala, all in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 22, discussion and possible action to approve pay request number 1 submitted by CDM Smith in the amount of $54,987.72 for professional service regarding task order number 4, well and well number 9, generator addition.
Again, this is a generator, and if we're lucky, we'll get the Texas Department of Emergency Management to give us a grant for the amount of the pay. We do have specs for bidding this particular project if we don't get lucky.
Any questions on item number 21, Councilman? 22? If not, I seek a first motion to approve item number 22. First motion is made by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second. Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 23, discussion possible action to approve change order number 001 submitted by Frank Architects Incorporation, increasing the contract sum of Stockman's Bank Phase 2 by $25,000 for subsurface drainage, installation and connection to city service.
We were in the process of making some changes to get the water away from the base of the building so that we can drain it to the street. And this is their charge for doing that particular work. We're almost finished with the building. I think we'll be finished by May. It's the last two-story structure yet to be preserved in the city.
It's real nice. I don't know if you guys have been in there. It's starting to come along just fine.
You're welcome to go there.
So the second floor has a view to the tracks.
Very nice.
Very nice, by the way. And now you can see the elevated storage tank, water tank.
From anywhere.
Yep. So I seek a first motion to approve item number 23.
I motion.
First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Sertucci. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 24, discussion and possible action on a contractor's application payment number 6 submitted by Briscoe Architectural Conservation in the amount of $52,075 for the Stockman's Bank Phase 2.
You already have a contract, and we're merely informing you of the draw.
I seek a first motion to approve item number 24. First motion is made by Mr. Rodriguez. I need a second. Second by Mr. Sertucci. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 25, discussion and possible action on the contractor's application payment number 7 submitted by Sales Construction in the amount of $83,682.73 for the Pool Street and water line improvements.
Are we finished?
The only thing lacking on Pool Street is the railing at the bridge. There's couplings on the right side of the bridge.
Is it a supply line issue?
It
or-
is.
Yes. We're having problems getting steel and PVC. And I didn't realize until yesterday or day before that we're having problems getting paint, oil-based paint.
Yeah, there is a shortage on
There
supplies.
is a problem. But again, you have a contract and we're nearing the end of the project, so this is informing you of the last or next to last draw.
Just for Pool Street?
Yes.
Pool Street, yes. If there's no further questions on item number 25, I seek a first motion to approve item number 25. First motion is made by Mr. Sertucci. I need a second.
Good.
Second by Mr. Ayala. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 26, discussion and possible action on the contractor's application for payment number 8 submitted by South Construction in the amount of $130,029.75 for Pool Street and water line improvements.
Is this on there because he forgot to submit last month?
Number 7, he sent it in after our last meeting.
Oh,
So that's a whole different.
yeah.
All right, item number 26, Also just informing us that there's another payment going out. So I seek a first motion to approve item number 26. First motion by Mr. Rodriguez, second by Mr. Certuche. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 27, closed session, text government code and section 551.071, 1 and 2, consulting with attorney, text government code and section 551.704, professional matters, view of city management performance and contract. B, Plaza Florita agreement with LaSalle County. It is now 9:16. you. All right, everybody, we're in closed session. It is now, we're coming back in to open session. It is now 10:03.
No action was taken.
No action was taken on item number 27 on letter A on the manager's performance and contract, or B on Plaza Florita agreement with LaSalle County. In open session, there's no action to be taken, so none is needed. So with that being said, I'd like to say, everybody, have a happy Easter. Be safe to everybody. And have a great day and a great weekend. So, and enjoy your families. After all, everything we do is for our families. So, item number 29, this meeting is adjourned. It is now 10:05.